I want to go back and look at something in 2018. I saw one little snippet that I think he might be referring to something like this. So let's take a look at this. 2018, like I said, Cleveland is in Boston. J.D. Martinez up at home plate. Hands rushing him in. Here's a soft line drive. You see Lindor catch it. But what you didn't see in the game angle is this. Look at where Lindor is, and when the pitch is being released, he's already moving to his right side. You could see this over and over again. The pitch hasn't been thrown yet, and you could see that lean the shift, and he catches it. Now, would he have caught that ball if he would have stayed in his normal position that he started in?
Yes.
The answer is yes. But my point is with that, and I think where he was going with it, is that wasn't on a little thing in his pocket that said, okay, if Hand's going to rush JD in with a heat piece, let's start leaning that way as you go. So the part of the game, I think, Dan, that's hurting a little bit is instincts like that Francisco Lindor has. I think what would slow him down in this game is if he's watching a young second baseman that he might be playing with getting overloaded with this is where the guy hits it. Francisco Lindor played against J.D. Martinez. He understands what J.D. Martinez is. He understands the count, the situation, and where the pitch is going to be delivered, and he has trust in Hand delivering that pitch. Therefore, the conclusion was the only place he was going to hit the ball was going to be to my right.
Yeah, Billy, I agree with you completely. And, the data is so helpful because it does provide you the direction of where a decision should go. The problem is it's now got to the point where it answers every question for you.
Right.
And then the second problem with the data is it's based on past results. It's not based upon what's happening right in the moment. So let me ask you this question, because now you've mentioned instincts, and I'll group baseball awareness with the instinct. Because is instincts and baseball awareness, is that knowledge that can be taught through a card or someone teaching you it, or is it learned through the experience of playing and making adjustments as you learn in the game of baseball?
Well, I think more so it's learned through the experience, but having information given to you. Like I said, I already talked about my brother a lot in the first block, and I'll talk about him again. When I came up and played second base, there was this big dude over here that played shortstop. And through him, I learned that you watch what the pitcher on the mound, your guy, was he hitting his spots like he was supposed to? Because if he is, you can play one way. If he's not, you cannot. Certain hitters in the game, I'll go back to my era, Ricky Henderson, Paul Molitor, two pretty good right-hand hitters. But you could position yourself differently in a 2-0 count or an 0-2 count, pending, once again, who was on the bump for you. So when you start understanding these things and looking at these things, it was my brother, once again, who led the league in total chances a couple times. That means he caught balls. He didn't have somebody give him a card, but he might play a hitter in 5 different spots, subtly, 5 different spots depending on the count, which also meant the third baseman did, the second baseman did, and the first baseman did. Through junior, I learned that you could move a little bit like a hand, and it was all about the game situation, the hitter at home plate, and who was your guy on the bump.
And don't you think that just makes the overall quality of the game better? Because players on the field are instinctively making split-second decisions on how to react to the speed of the game at the moment that the game is played.
Yes, and I also am not going to dismiss that we didn't have meetings prior to series. We met with the pitchers, how they were going to face other guys. We also met with coaches that says, okay, let's go after this guy, this guy, this guy in this way because they're hot compared to not. But once you went out on the field, if you couldn't retain that, I'm not going to steal a line from Harold Reynolds, but yes, I am. It's embarrassing when I see a guy reach in his pocket and pull out the card to know where to play a hitter. It's the same game. You looked at it the first time he came up, and he comes up the second time, you look at it again. So I want these guys to learn a little bit more on their own instead of relying on that necessarily that index card. Let the guy have a little freedom to play the game like Lindor was probably talking about. So, Scotty, since I am not stealing a line from Harold, oh, yes, I did, but it was embarrassing to me to see that.